Sometimes the victim or a survivor of a narcissistic person will go to the ends of the earth to protect that narcissist or toxic person in their life. And if you're new here, my name is Lee Hammock. I go by Mental Illness on all social media platforms, and I am a self-aware narcissist. And welcome to another episode of A Narcissist Explains. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about just that, defending your abuser, defending your abusive partner or abusive ex, and things of that nature, healing and suffering in silence. Stay tuned, like, and subscribe.
I was running through the six with my woes. Yeah.
Tried to defend her ex-husband with the police after he tried to unalive her. And of course, if you're new here, I'm a narcissist. I actually have narcissistic personality disorder. You'd be surprised how often things like this happen, where the person who's being abused tries to defend or protect the abuser. The push and pull of these toxic relationship dynamics, the ups and downs, the roller coaster ride of emotions messes with your mind, y'all. Like, you get so trauma bonded to that person that you actually start to sympathize with that person. Like, thank them for not taking your life. Like, thank you so much for not taking my life. You could have, I know you could have, but you didn't because you love me, right? And I love you. That's 100,000% not love, y'all. That is an addiction. That is the trauma bond. That is the Stockholm syndrome. And it happens a lot in toxic relationship dynamics with narcissistic people. You will go to war trying to defend the person who abused you. Fighting off the police, kicking and screaming or whatever. Keeping things to yourself. Stay strong, and I hope this helps you. So if you couldn't read the text on the screen, it says, I fought the police when they arrested my husband after he tried to unalive me. If you knew her, like, that woman her name is Amanda. She was one of the very first people I talked to when I started doing my one-on-ones in 2021. One of the very first people I talked to, and just quick backstory on her. She shares her own story, so I can share this with you. She was in a very, very toxic, abusive relationship for a very long time. Like, she's a super empath, super kind, caring person. And her toxic narcissistic ex or whatever was literally one of the ones to get physical with you. He was like literally, hammering away at her. Like, she had cooked something and he didn't like it, and then he just jumped on her, started attacking her, like literally using his fist to just pound her head into the ground and put his hands around her throat and whatnot. And she thought she was about to pass away. She thought this was the end of her life. She was screaming or whatever. And then he finally, out of nowhere, she said she started praying, and then out of nowhere, he got up and he stopped. He sat in the couch and he started crying. He was shaking his hand. And she said, you know what I did when he hopped up off of me, Lee? I was like, you ran out the house and called the police and got him arrested? She was like, nope. The first thing I did was I got up, I sat in his lap, and I kissed his hand, and I hugged him, and I thanked him for not taking my life. I knew in my mind, I had convinced myself that he loved me so much that he didn't take my life. Like, he was punishing me for something that I had done to him, but he loved me so much that he didn't take my life. So I took that as a show of love that he didn't take my life. And I was taken aback because that's the first time I heard a story like that, And then she said the neighbors had heard what was going on, the commotion, and the neighbors called the police. And she showed me the body cam footage from this. The police show up. He comes to the door. He's just smiling. He was like, "What's going on, guys?" He's just happy-go-lucky. A few minutes ago, he was beating her head in. He was happy-go-lucky, answering the door. He's like, "What's going on, guys? What are you doing here?" They're like, "Oh, we hear some commotion. Somebody called the police, said they hear a woman screaming and crying or whatever. We just needed to check up, make sure everything's okay, right?" And on the footage, you can see her kind of come around the corner, like with a towel on her head and covering her face. And then the police kind of looked at each other, and they're like, "Come outside and talk to us real quick. Come outside." He was like, "No, I'm not coming outside." And he started, like, you can see him switch from being nice and acting like he didn't know what was going on to defending himself. Like, he tried to run in the house. The police tackled him, and you know what she did? She jumped on or started attacking the police. She started attacking the police in this situation right here, and she's on camera attacking the police, screaming, crying, like, "Get him out! Get off of him! Get off of him!" And they end up taking her to the hospital, treating her for her wounds. Her face is all swollen up and stuff like that. She's in the hospital asking about him. Like, she's beat up, bruised up, face swole up, chest all, you can see the marks on her. She's asking about him. She's like, "Where is he at? Is he okay? How much is his bail? Can you let him know I'm asking about him? Let him know I'm going to pay his bail. Let him know the first thing." And she was broken. People in this situation, this happens so much, y'all. This happens so many times to people, and that's the first time I heard a story like that, and it took me back. I had to step back, and I was like, "Damn, this really be happening like that, don't it?" And her story helped catapult me into talking more about the physical violence situations when you're dealing with narcissistic people, because this happens more. Narcissistic, toxic, sociopathic, psychopathic people, because this happens a lot. Like physical violence gets involved, or the person that is the victim will start to defend the person, that is abusing her, but that is abusing them. You see this. I used to see this a lot growing up in my in my community sometimes, where a woman would be in a toxic relationship. She would get beat up. The brothers and the daddy would go over there and beat up the boyfriend or the husband, and then the woman would call the police on her brother and her daddy, and go back to the man. Press charges on her brother and her daddy. Go back to the man. Battered women, battered men. This happens so much, y'all. Where they wanted to defend the abuser. That's when your mind is like, people get broken like this all the time. You know what I mean? And and it's a very, very isolating experience. When you get to the point where your mind is broken to the point where you're defending the person who's trying to take your life over your family and friends, that can be so isolating because nobody wants to deal with you anymore. I've seen this happen so many. I'm just in my real life, not just. And it took me back to childhood. I remember that happened in my childhood. I was like, yeah. And one of my friends said this. One of my friends in real life said this happened to him very recently, where his sister was getting beat up. He beats up the guy he beat up her boyfriend. She called the police on him and pressed charges on her brother. Get off my boyfriend. Get off of him. She's beat up, bloody, eye swole. She attacks her brother. This is a real thing, y'all, and it happens so much. And if this is happening to you, you're watching this video, and this video resonates with you to the point where you understand that you say, oh my goodness, that happened to me. That's happening to me right now. Nobody wants to deal with me anymore because no matter what happens, I keep going back. You can break that cycle because it happens so much, y'all, that ups and downs of this relationship, the toxicity of this relationship, it gets you addicted to the person. You don't love them anymore. You do not love them. I'm going to say it right now. You don't love them anymore, but I love them so much. You don't love them. You don't. You're an abuse victim that is addicted or obsessed with your abuser. Stockholm syndrome, trauma bond. You don't love them anymore. You cannot love somebody that's hurting you like that. That's not what love is. Well, Lee, you don't know what love is. You're a narcissist, but you can say that if you want to. That's why I started my whole little brand right here. The self-love brand, this symbol right here stands for I love me. I love me. The self-love. I'm worthy. You are worthy of real love, not this toxic love. You are. And the brand, y'all know the brand the link is in the description of every video. But that's what my self-love brand is about, because a lot of people get into these situations where you lose that self-love because you're in this toxic relationship and you feel like the person abusing you is the only person that can validate you. Because how could somebody that you love so much hurt you so much? How could the person that you're seeking validation from, how could they put you through so much pain and through so much suffering? How could they do this? That's not, and you get to the point where you understand that's not what love is. It's just not love. This is not love, y'all. This is addiction. This is trauma bond. That's what I try to get into people's head. Like, you don't love them anymore. You do not. You don't. You don't love them anymore. I've done videos saying that before, but you don't have to heal, and you don't have to heal in silence, because I see this all the time, y'all, in abuse victims. It's not just women. Men go through this as well, but more women go through it. And more women are more vocal about it than men are, because a man, you come out in society today, hey man, my girl be putting my hands on me. I don't want to get her locked up because I know what she went through in childhood. I know she had a bad childhood. I know she went through some trauma. Women say the same thing about the man they're dealing with. I know he had a bad childhood. I know he had some trauma. I just want to show him what real love is. I just want to show him the love his mom didn't show him. I just want to show her the love her dad didn't show her. So I get it. I understand why she's doing this to me. It just hurts so much to love them. It should not hurt to love them. That's why I tell people, you don't love them anymore. In my point of view, my perspective, you don't love them anymore. This is not love. It just isn't. The person who's loving you is hurting you. That's a trauma bond. That's exactly what that is right there. You know what I mean? That's why you have to get to the point where you love yourself more. The self-love journey, like the Trauma Bond Recovery Journal. My friend wrote this. It's on Amazon. Look up the Trauma Bond Recovery Journal by Lisa Sunny. This is look up the trauma bond and understand that this is why you defend your abuser. And it can get embarrassing. A lot of people a lot of people keep this stuff to themselves because it's embarrassing to you. I'll talk to people. Amanda was embarrassed telling me that story. That's why she told me to guess what I did after he beat me up. After he beat my ass, guess what I did? My first guess was, damn, I know I would have got up and ran out the house and tried to call the police. She was embarrassed. She said, I got up and I would have hugged him and kissed him and cried with him and thanked him for not taking my life, because I knew he loved. When he didn't take my life, I knew he loved me. What? A lot of people get into their head, they're like, this is what love is. They try to find an inkling of love. This has to be. That's why he didn't take. He could have took my life, but he didn't. He could have kept hitting me, but he didn't. He could have kept putting his hands around my throat and choking me, but he didn't. So that must mean that he loves me. They find you find it. If you're trying to find the love in your relationship, it's not there. If you have to find the love in your current relationship, it is not there, y'all. You don't, and like I said, it's okay to be. I understand the people who get into these relationships and they're scared to leave. Like, well, if I leave, they're gonna harm me. If I leave, they're gonna hurt me. If I leave, they're gonna find me. If I leave, they're gonna do this. They're gonna do that. I understand that as well, y'all. I'm not beyond reproach. I get it. I truly do understand it. You know what I mean? I get it. I understand that people will hurt you if you try to leave them because they claim ownership over you. And guess what happens? How you get addicted to these relationships? Because it's not always bad. It's not always bad. There are good times too. I can see the good in them. I know the good in them. They were nice to me sometimes too. I get that. That's how you get addicted to them. If it was 100% bad all the time, it would be easy to leave. Of course, it's not bad all the time. Of course, there's some good in the relationship. You can see it. That's why it keeps you there. After they beat your ass, they'll hug and kiss you too. They'll cry with you. They'll feel so bad for hurting you. I feel so bad for hurting you. I can't believe I can't control myself. I just want to die. I don't want to live anymore because I keep treating you so badly. Man, that is manipulation to the umpteenth power. That is sociopathic. That is insanity. That they can cry for hurting you, but they can't control themselves. I'm telling you, people like that get increasingly dangerous. The more you keep going back to them, the better they feel about themselves. The more they feel not obligated. The more they feel like they can beat your ass and get away with it. The more they feel like they can cheat on you and get away with it. The more they feel like they can hit on you, steal from you, lie to you, manipulate you, and get away with it. That's why the more you go back to these relationships, the worse it tends to get. You see what I'm saying? This is not me making it off the top of my head, y'all. This is really what truly happens in these dynamics. But most times you have to get to the point where you empower yourself to understand that, like, you deserve more. I'm worthy. You are worthy of love. That's what my brand is about, y'all. The self-love brand is here. But anyways, y'all, if y'all get tired of these relationships, please make a plan to leave as safely as possible. I'm not telling you to tell, and you don't have to tell them that you're leaving them, because telling them that you're leaving them, they can escalate the violence, or they can just try to manipulate you into saying, I'm sorry, I'll change, please, I'll change, don't leave me, I love you, blah, 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 I'm going to take my own life. Don't fall for that, y'all. It is another form of manipulation. And I know this video went on longer, but when I tell Amanda's story, I get into my little narcissistic feelings. The little dark narcissistic heart in my chest beats a little faster because that's my homie right there. And plus, me and her share a birthday. And guess what? She got out of the relationship 2 years ago. It's been almost 3 years out. It's been almost 2 years. 2021. Since she got out of that relationship, and guess what now? She's married to somebody else that treats her way better. There's love after a toxic relationship. It's possible. But anyways, y'all, thank y'all so much. Like and subscribe for more. And like I told you, the brand is in the link is in the description. The I Love Me, the self-love brand is in the description. And also the Trauma Bond Recovery Journal is on Amazon. Lisa Sonni, LISASONNI. Thank you. Like and subscribe for more. Peace.